My wife said, "I love you, but I'm not happy," every time we talked about having kids. Finally, I said, "Life's too short to be unhappy." I ended things the next day. She kept texting that she didn't mean it like that, but I knew she did. "I love you, but I'm not happy." That sentence didn't hit me all at once. It sank in slowly, like water seeping into cracks on a cold day, unnoticed until the damage was already done. She said it in a quiet voice, eyes drifting to the floor like the truth might rise up through the tiles. We were sitting at our kitchen table, mugs of coffee gone cold, a Sunday morning that started normal and ended with the foundation of my life cracking open beneath me. My name is Joseph. I'm 36 now. Back then, I was 32, married, comfortable, and quietly proud of the life I'd built with Carol, my wife of 5 years. We met through work. I was in IT, she was in HR. She used to joke that she hired me twice, once as an employee and once as a husband. She was funny, sharp, ambitious, a planner, a spreadsheet for everything kind of woman. And when she said she loved me, she always followed it with a list of why. But things changed. It started when I brought up kids. I didn't push, not at first. Just floated the idea one night while we were watching some movie with a baby in it. She tensed up, gave a small laugh, and said, "Let's not ruin a good thing, okay?" I smiled and let it go. Once, twice, 3 times. Each time I brought it up, her reaction was the same. Awkward jokes, long silences, or that same line, "I love you, but I'm not happy." And it always came back to kids. She didn't say she didn't want them, just that she wasn't ready, or that the timing wasn't right, or that maybe I was mistaking comfort for fulfillment. That one stung. Because no, I wasn't fulfilled. I wanted more, but I wanted more with her. I wasn't chasing some white picket fantasy. I just thought we were building a future together. The night before everything ended, I found her in our guest room. Door closed. Laptop glowing. She looked up like a teenager caught sneaking in after curfew. "What's up?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "Just needed some space," she said. I paused. "Carol, are we okay?" She gave me that tight smile that said, "We will be if you stop asking questions." "I love you," she said, "but I'm not happy." I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan, thinking about all the quiet ways she'd been slipping away. The way she'd stopped laughing at my dumb jokes. The way her phone always seemed to be face down lately. The way she'd started using phrases like "my career" and "my goals" instead of "ours." And in the morning, I knew. I made her coffee, how she liked it, almond milk and too much cinnamon, and I handed it to her with a smile. "Life's too short to be unhappy," I said. "So I'm letting you go." She blinked. "Wait, what?" "I'm not mad. I can't be the guy holding you hostage in a life you didn't ask for." It was the first time I'd seen her speechless. She shook her head. "I didn't mean it like that." "But you did," I said. "Maybe not all at once, but little by little. And I heard you." I moved out 2 days later. She didn't stop me. What came after was brutal in the quietest way possible. No big blow-up. No public screaming match. Just silence. A hollow where my marriage used to be. Friends were confused. Her parents sent me long texts I didn't read. My mom cried, asked if it was something I did. And part of me wondered, was it me? Was I too boring? Too stable? Too safe? That's when I started unraveling a bit. I withdrew. I stopped going out. I stopped doing the things I used to enjoy. Even work felt like a blur. I'd sit at my desk, stare at code I'd written, and wonder how I used to care so much about anything. Meanwhile, Carol was doing fine. At least, according to social media. She started posting more. Gym selfies. Brunches. Travel. One post said, "Sometimes you have to let go of comfort to grow." That one felt aimed at me, whether it was or not. A mutual friend reached out. "She's seeing someone," he said. "I wasn't sure if you knew." I hadn't, and I didn't want to. It's a weird thing, grieving someone who isn't dead. Knowing they're still out there, laughing, moving on, rewriting the story of your shared life like it was just a long detour. And I'll be honest, there were nights I hated her for it. Quiet, bitter hate that lived in my chest like a cold stone. But hate doesn't heal anything. So I got help. Therapy, gym, books, silence. I started rebuilding brick by brick. Not out of spite, but because I had to. And in that process, I found something I hadn't expected. Clarity. Carol wasn't evil. She didn't cheat. She didn't scream. She didn't ruin me. But she did stop choosing me. Not all at once. Just slowly enough that neither of us noticed until the damage was irreversible. 6 months later, I launched a side project I've been dreaming about for years. An app that helps freelancers manage their schedules and invoices. Nothing flashy. Just simple, clean, useful, and somehow it caught fire. A tech blogger picked it up. Then a small business YouTuber reviewed it. Subscriptions rolled in. I didn't become a millionaire overnight, but for the first time in years, I felt like I was building something that mattered, and it was mine. A year after our split, I got a text. Carol, hey, just saw the article about your app. Wow, you really did it. I'm proud of you. It was surreal. We hadn't spoken since the divorce papers. My hand shook a little when I read it. Not from love, just from the ghost of what we used to be. I replied simply, thanks. I hope you're doing well. She followed up 2 days later. Carol, I miss talking to you. Would you be open to a coffee? Just to catch up. And here's where the twist came in. The guy she started seeing right after our split, they'd broken up. Turns out, he didn't want kids either. But unlike me, he also didn't want stability, or commitment, or anything beyond surface-level fun. She didn't say that directly, but I read between the lines. Carol had gambled on the idea that there was something more out there, and now she was circling back to what felt familiar. Me. I said no. Not harshly. Not bitterly. Just no. Because the man she left wasn't the same man she was trying to reconnect with. That guy, the one who begged for validation, who lost sleep wondering why he wasn't enough. That guy was gone. And the man I'd become? He knew his worth. I didn't need Carol to be happy. I didn't even need her to understand why I left. I just needed to remember that I had always deserved someone who saw me as the right choice, not the safe one. She texted a few more times. Nothing dramatic. Just those soft, regretful feelers people send when they realize they misunderstood the value of someone. I never blocked her. I didn't have to. I just stopped replying. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. I didn't expect silence to feel like peace. After everything, after the text from Carol, the accidental likes on my social posts, the warm but loaded "I'm proud of you" message, I figured there would be more noise. A dramatic scene. A final argument. A closing statement for our failed marriage. But no, she faded again. Quietly. Like fog dissolving in sunlight. And I kept moving. The app called Time Nest took on a life of its own. It wasn't massive, but it became respected in a niche circle. I got invited to speak on a small tech panel. A podcast host asked to interview me. One of the freelance platforms even wanted a partner. I kept my day job for stability, but I finally had something of my own. Something I could point to and say, I built that. Funny thing is, success doesn't come with trumpets. It sneaks up on you. You're just working one day to the next, and then suddenly someone's asking you to sign a release form so they can feature your face in a startup spotlight. And that's when the second message came from Carol. Carol, I know I'm the last person you probably want to hear from, but I just wanted to say, I think I messed up. Like, really messed up. I didn't know what I wanted back then. And I think I hurt the only person who truly had my back. I stared at my phone for a long time. It wasn't the apology that got me. It was the subtext, the way she phrased it. I think I messed up. Not I know I did. Not I'm sorry I hurt you. Just that vague, guilt-riddled message you send when your regrets catch up to you, but your pride won't let you say it clearly. I didn't reply. Not right away. Because here's the thing. I wasn't angry anymore. But I also wasn't nostalgic. I'd worked too hard to get my footing back. I'd clawed my way out of the mental pit that divorce left me in. And I didn't trust that her sudden interest in reconnecting was about me. It felt more like a person retracing her steps, trying to pick up something she dropped on the way to something else. A few days later, I ran into one of her old friends, Sasha, at a coffee shop. We weren't particularly close, but she knew the history. She gave me a tight smile. You're glowing, Joseph. New woman. I laughed. Just a new mindset. She raised her eyebrows and then, with zero subtlety, said, Carol talks about you more than you'd think. I shrugged. She can talk. I'm good. Sasha gave me a look, somewhere between impressed and guilty. She's not doing as great as she lets on. The guy she left you for? That crashed and burned. And now she's in some weird limbo. She even told me she envies your clarity. Clarity. That word stuck with me. Because, yeah, I was clear now. I was clear about the fact that love isn't just about butterflies and warm feelings. It's about consistency. About choosing each other, even when it's not exciting. About sitting down over cold coffee and talking through the uncomfortable parts. And Carol? She had loved me, maybe, but she hadn't chosen me. Not when it counted. She'd chosen freedom. Mystery. Possibility. Which, look, I get. Life is short. If you're unhappy, you have to make a change. But the thing is, so did I. So when she messaged me again a week later asking if I'd be willing to talk sometime, I said yes. Not to get back together. Not to rekindle anything. Just to close the loop. For me. We met at a small cafe downtown, the kind we used to love when we were first dating. She was already seated when I arrived, hands curled around a mug, eyes scanning every face that walked in. When she saw me, she smiled. Soft, hesitant. "You look good," she said. "You too," I replied, and I meant it. She did, but didn't twist my stomach like it used to. There was a long pause, then she said it outright. "I miss you, Joseph. I missed you for a long time." I nodded slowly. "Why?" Her face fell just a little, like she wasn't expecting me to ask that. "Because, I don't know, you were always there. You listened. You made me feel safe." I sipped my drink. "But not excited, right?" She flinched. "Carol," I said gently, "you didn't do anything wrong. You just wanted something else. I get that now. I really do. But I'm not the guy who lives in your what-ifs." She blinked hard. "So that's it?" I smiled genuinely. "That's it." She looked down at her hands. I think I was scared of being locked into something before I figure myself out. "I know," I said. "I used to be angry about that. Now I'm just glad I figured myself out after." We talked for a while. About mutual friends, work, our families. I learned she'd gone back to school, taken up photography again, was considering moving to another city. When we stood to leave, she hesitated. "If you ever want to catch up again." "I don't think I will," I said. Not unkindly, just honest. She nodded, tears in her eyes, but not dramatic ones. Just the kind you cry when you realize something's finally really over. We hugged, briefly. Then we walked in opposite directions. And just like that, the last echo of our marriage slipped into the past where it belonged. I walked home, wind in my face, sun on my back. Alone, but not lonely. There's this idea people have that closure comes from dramatic moments or perfect apologies. But sometimes, closure is just choosing not to carry someone's confusion anymore. It's choosing peace over nostalgia, growth over familiarity, yourself over the version of you someone else remembers. And for the first time in years, I felt proud. Not because Carol finally saw my worth, but because I did. It's strange how the hardest chapters of your life can fade into something you almost feel grateful for. Not because of the pain or the way it hollowed you out, but because once you claw your way out of that darkness, you realize how sharp your vision becomes. I used to think heartbreak meant I'd failed. That being left meant I wasn't enough. But now I know that being abandoned by someone who didn't fully choose you is actually a gift in disguise. After that final coffee with Carol, my world didn't shift dramatically. There were no fireworks, no dramatic goodbyes, just a clean, quiet ending. The door closed, and for once, I didn't feel like chasing after the sound of it. I kept going. Timeless continued to grow, not viral or flashy, but steady, sustainable. I started speaking at more events, mentoring a few developers, and even teaching a weekend class at a local startup hub. I liked the rhythm. I liked waking up knowing my life wasn't reactionary anymore. I wasn't waiting for someone to tell me what we were doing with our future. I was building mine day by day. I started dating again, too. Slowly. At first, I was cautious, more guarded than I'd ever been. I found myself measuring people against a yardstick I wasn't even aware I had. But I was also more honest than I'd ever been. I stopped pretending, stopped performing. I didn't need to be interesting or exciting or anyone's fantasy. I just needed to be real. And somewhere along the way, that honesty led me to Claire. She was nothing like Carol. Claire was calm where Carol was intense, warm where Carol had always been cool and calculating. But more than anything, Claire made space for me. She didn't just listen. She heard me. She didn't shy away when I talked about my past. She didn't flinch when I admitted I was once broken in quiet ways. She didn't try to fix me or shape me or push me to be more ambitious. She just sat with me. And over time, I realized that was what I'd been missing all along. Not passion or thrill, but someone who believed in me without needing a performance. We've been together a year and a half now, and it's good. The kind of good that doesn't post well on social media. The kind of good that's built in the soft hours of the morning and in the quiet glances across a dinner table. One night, we were watching a movie, something dumb and light, and she reached over and casually said, "You'd be a great dad someday." I didn't expect it. It wasn't a topic we'd rushed into. But there was no fear in her voice, no hesitation, just confidence. I felt something settle in my chest in that moment, something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. And that's when it hit me. Carol had once made me feel like wanting a family was a burden, a flaw, like it was childish or selfish or simple-minded. Claire made it feel like a possibility, a choice, a beautiful one. A few weeks after that, Carol messaged me again. "Carol, just saw you featured in that freelance article. It's wild watching you succeed. You look really happy, Joseph. Like really at peace. She didn't ask to meet up this time. Maybe she knew not to. Maybe she finally understood that there was no space in my life left for her shadow. I replied after a day, "I am happy. I hope you are too." She loved the message, and that was it. No more follow-ups. No more hints. Just a quiet, mutual understanding that whatever existed between us had served its purpose and run its course. I don't hate Carol. In fact, I think I finally understand her. She wasn't cruel, just scared. Scared of locking herself into something that didn't light her up. Scared of growing into a version of herself she couldn't recognize. And I can respect that now. Because I was scared too, of letting go, of being alone, of rebuilding. But I did anyway. I know some people wait their whole lives for that big, cinematic moment of vindication. The ex begging to come back. The revenge body. The look who's winning now moment. But for me, the real victory came in the smallest ways. It came in the way I started laughing again, real belly-deep laughs that didn't feel strained. It came in waking up without that pit in my stomach. It came in the quiet belief that I didn't need anyone's permission to be whole. The best part? The respect I used to beg for, Carol's, others, my own, I didn't have to demand it anymore. I just lived in a way that made it inevitable. A few months ago, I went back to that little cafe where Carol and I had our final talk. Claire was with me this time. We were getting coffee before heading to a hiking trail just outside the city. As we waited in line, I caught a glimpse of myself in the window, and I didn't look like a man who'd been left behind. I looked like a man who'd finally arrived. Claire reached for my hand and squeezed it. "What?" I asked. She smiled. "Nothing. You just look peaceful." I smiled back. "I am. That's the ending. No fireworks. No final twist. Just peace. Just the long, earned silence of someone who's no longer trying to prove their worth, because they already know it. And if Carol ever wonders, late at night, whether she made the right choice or not, that's between her and the version of herself she left me for. As for me, I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and that's more than enough. If you enjoyed this story, kindly subscribe so you don't miss what we share next.